Something's seriously going wrong for Yuki Tsunoda. The Silverstone Grand Prix turned out to be another tough chapter in what's becoming a rough season for him. He finished last, and that's with 4 other drivers not even completing the race. The spotlight is now on him, and not in a good way. It's not just about 2026 anymore. Even his seat for 2025 is starting to look uncertain. Red Bull is facing a growing problem, and Yuki is right in the middle of it. With Max Verstappen not at his sharpest lately, the team can't afford constant issues from the second seat. The latest blow. A 10-second penalty after Yuki collided with Behrman. Even with drivers like Antonelli, Hajar, and Lawson retiring from the race, Yuki couldn't make up any significant ground. That speaks volumes. What's more troubling is that Yuki doesn't seem to have a solution for any of it. The RB21 isn't working in his favor, and it's showing. This is where Red Bull team principal Christian Horner might need to take some quick action. He mentioned that Yuki was unlucky during qualifying due to battery issues. In the race, his pace dropped sharply after the contact with Behrman, and that left everyone scratching their heads. Christian believes something different needs to be done now. The idea is to adjust the car to suit Yuki better, even if that means giving him a setup that's different from Max's. He made a reference to Eddie Irvine and Michael Schumacher at Ferrari back in the mid-90s, pointing out how some drivers can handle a car with a sharp front end, but most struggle with that kind of balance. The plan now? Calm things down for Yuki and try to build around his strengths. Instead of forcing him to match Max's preferences, but adjusting the car setup is just one part of a much bigger issue. Tsunoda's presence in Formula One is starting to fade from public view, not because he's not there, but because he's not delivering anything memorable. This kind of performance drop affects more than just points. It hits a driver's image, confidence, and chances for the future. Right now, even Nico Hülkenberg has more points than not just Yuki, but both Racing Bull's drivers combined. When you look at the standings and performance trends, the outlook is pretty harsh. Nothing so far suggests that things will turn around in the second half of the season, and the reason, the car just isn't performing at the level needed unless your name is Max Verstappen. For the rest, it's a constant struggle. Red Bull isn't ignoring this either. Christian Horner has openly said that the team may need to start looking at changes, possibly even before 2026. If Yuki continues like this, there's a real chance we might see someone else in his seat as early as 2025. That's not just speculation. That's coming straight from the top. And when asked about possible replacements, Horner made it clear their first choice is always to look at their own talent pool. They've got young names like Isaac Hajar showing promise, and Liam Lawson is starting to pick up momentum as well. So if they feel someone inside the camp is ready, they won't hesitate. But that doesn't mean they'll ignore external options either. If needed, they will go outside their usual group to bring in someone who can do the job. This leaves Yuki with a simple reality. He has the rest of the season to prove that he belongs in that car, and that window is closing fast. Now the big question is, what should Red Bull expect from the second seat? If you pick someone from your own driver pool and place them in that struggling car, are you setting them up for success or failure? Many feel it's more of a sideways move than a step forward. That's probably why Peter Bayer, Racing Bull's CEO, jokingly mentioned that he'd need to lock Hajar in a room if Red Bull came knocking. And honestly, that says a lot. Hajar is talented, no doubt, but putting him into a car that doesn't respond well to feedback might not change much. If the machine isn't cooperating, it wouldn't matter whether it's Tsunoda, Lawson, or Hajar behind the wheel. The outcome could look the same. So now, the decision isn't just about who can take the seat, it's about who should. A lot of fans are quick to name Isaac Hajar as the top candidate. He's had flashes of brilliance in the Racing Bulls, and it feels like the natural step is to move up. But is it really an upgrade? When you look closely, the way the RB21 behaves is so different that even a skilled driver might struggle to adjust. Many fans have even joked that if Max Verstappen were driving the Racing Bulls car, he might actually be having a better season than he currently is. Numbers don't lie. Tsunoda hasn't reached Q3 in the last 6 rounds. He's been knocked out in Q1 and Q2 3 times each, his total just 8 points. Sure, that's better than Lawson's 0, but remember, Liam only had 2 races to show what he could do, and sadly, nobody in the team seems to know exactly what's holding Yuki back. That makes things even more complicated. Even experts are puzzled. Jolyon Palmer, former F1 driver and analyst, took a closer look at Yuki's recent qualifying laps and found something surprising. There weren't any big mistakes, no moments where he lost the car, no sections where he was clearly slower than expected. It's not like he's spinning off the track or locking up under pressure, and that's the problem. Usually, when a driver underperforms, there's a clear reason. A bad corner here, a braking error there, those things can be fixed. You can study the data, pinpoint the issue, and improve. But in Yuki's case, the time just isn't there. The car looks stable, his lines are consistent, but he's still off the pace. That's a nightmare for both the driver and the engineers. Tsunoda has been working hard for years to earn a real shot in Formula One, and now that he's finally in a car that should give him a platform to grow, It's not clicking. No major errors, no major breakthroughs, just average results in a sport where average isn't enough. So, where does this leave him? Unfortunately, in a very fragile position. As much as Red Bull might want to support him, patience has a limit, especially in this sport. The truth is, Yuki's performances haven't just hurt his image, they've added pressure on the entire team. And when results don't come, the questions only grow louder. Right now, he's running out of time and running out of chances. The rest of this season could determine if he stays in Formula One or fades out completely. Looking ahead, the next move seems almost written. Arvid Lindblad is right there, progressing through the ranks, waiting for his break. If things continue the way they are, it's likely that Hajar could be moved up to the Red Bull seat, while Lindblad takes over at Racing Bulls. It's not an ideal situation for anyone involved, but sometimes the timing doesn't line up perfectly in motorsport. Let's be honest, this has become a familiar story in the Red Bull program. They've often used Racing Bulls as a testing ground, and when a driver doesn't meet expectations, someone else is waiting in line. That's what's happening with Tsunoda right now. The spotlight is slowly shifting toward others who are showing momentum. In this case, that's Hajar and Lindblad. There's also a wider conversation happening behind the scenes about Max Verstappen's future. If he decides to move on, Red Bull could be facing a major shakeup. And in a situation like that, locking down dependable talent becomes even more urgent. But for now, Tsunoda's future is hanging by a thread. Helmut Marko has reportedly made it clear Yuki will be given the rest of 2025. There's no benefit in swapping him out mid-season when the campaign is already slipping away. The team seems more focused on stability than gambling on a sudden change. Even with Verstappen still in the title hunt, the energy inside the Red Bull garage isn't what it used to be. Unless Ferrari or Mercedes stumble badly, Red Bull may have to settle for fourth in the standings. And even that feels like a stretch unless Max starts winning consistently again. With everything going on, it's clear that Red Bull is at a turning point. They're not just managing a struggling second seat, they're managing expectations, reputations, and the future direction of their entire driver program. Tsunoda's presence, once full of promise, now feels uncertain. And though there's still time left in the season, the pressure on his shoulders is massive. Helmut Marko, in one of his recent comments, didn't hold back. He admitted that Yuki was completely off pace during the Spielberg round and emphasized that they're trying to stop setting the car up so aggressively for Max, in hopes that a softer balance might help Tsunoda settle in better. That alone shows how far things have gone. The team is rethinking its car setup just to try and get something out of the second seat. Still, that might not be enough, because it's not just about fixing a car. It's about proving that you belong, that you can deliver when the pressure is highest. And right now, there are too many names pushing for that spot. Young talents like Lindblad are climbing fast, and the reality is, Red Bull isn't short on options anymore. For Tsunoda, the remaining races are more than just points opportunities. They're his last chance to show that he deserves to be part of this conversation going forward. The clock is ticking, and in a sport where one bad season can end a career, there's no room for another mistake. So now the big question is, has Tsunoda reached the end of the road at Red Bull, or is there still something left in him to change? This story? Let us know your thoughts below. Who should Red Bull pick for the second seat next season? And do you believe Yuki still has what it takes to hold on to his place?